Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. I am here with a book video. It has been a couple months since I have shared what I have been reading, and honestly that is because I was in a major reading slump kind of at the latter part of the springtime, and I went weeks without reading anything. I wasn't in the mood, and I have been listening to podcasts a lot more recently and just trying to incorporate other things than just audiobooks. I felt very driven to listen to audiobooks because I enjoy them. I love it, obviously, but also to meet a number goal. And then I was kind of ignoring podcasts and different things like that. So I've tried to strike a little bit more of a balance in the last couple of months of what I'm reading and other things that I am doing. And that has been really good for me. But here's Rip. I have finished off some books that I wanted to share and talk about with you guys. So I have, 6 or 7 fiction novels that I have read since the last time that we have met, I believe. Yeah, I believe so. Since the last time that we have met, I have also read a lot of self-help, self-development, self-improvement type books. I'm not going to include those in this video because I feel like not everybody is interested in those. Plus, a lot of those books I have talked about in my vlogs. So if you're watching kind of my 75 soft journey, if you're watching just kind of my weight loss, fitness, health journey that I'm documenting right now, I've talked about a lot of those books there. So just don't really feel the need to repeat. So this is going to be just the fiction books that I've read probably for the last 2 months or so since the last time we sat down and did this video. I think they pretty much all fit into the mystery thriller category, which is my favorite category. So the first novel that I want to talk about is Count My Lies by Sophie Stava. I think this is a relatively new novel. I want to say it came out this year, and the little blurb that Goodreads gives it, I think, is the perfect way to describe it. It says, a read in one night suspense thriller narrated by a compulsive liar whose little white lies allow her to enter into the life and comfort of a wealthy married couple who are harboring much darker secrets themselves. For the millions of us still chasing Gone Girls, this is perfect for fans of Lucy Jewell, Lucy Foley, and Laura Dave. So like that little blurb said, this is about a woman who is this compulsive liar, and she's able to weave her way into this family as their nanny by telling lies. And she becomes really close friends with the wife, the mother in this family, and then come to find out this family dynamic is not as perfect as maybe outside seemed, and there's some lying and scheming and other things going on like in the home. So it just was really interesting when all of the characters are unlikable in this book, and you're kind of trying to figure out what's going to happen because they're all kind of playing each other in a little bit of a way. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a great quick read. If you like suspenseful thriller novels, I would recommend this one. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. Really, really fun read. So, I try when I do these quick reviews to not give any sort of spoilers or give anything away. I really struggle watching some book videos at times because I feel like too much information is given, and I think you need to explore that on your own. I just want to give you enough of a blurb and enough of an idea of what the book is about to either entice you to read it or to say, no, that's probably not for me, and it's one that you can mark off of your to-read list. So hopefully I do that okay, and I'm not giving away too much information. Next, I read The Note by Alfair Burke. So this is about a group of women that get together that I think they went to maybe high school together, or They went to school together long ago, and so they have this bond over something bad that happened years ago when they were children. And they get together again as adults. And they meet up for a weekend at the Hamptons. Well, there is an incident that happens, and a note is left after this incident. And essentially, it's what happens after this note is left and discovered, and everybody starts spiraling and trying to figure out who's responsible, and the group of friends starts turning on each other. It's a great whodunit type of novel, but also really delves into friendships and that kind of dynamic that you have with your friends. And like I said, they're harboring this secret from when they were a kid, you know, this bonded type of trauma that they have together. Really interesting book. Was it anything over the top amazing? No, I gave it a 3 stars. 3 stars for me on Goodreads means I enjoyed this book. I would recommend this book to you, but I can't say it's one of my favorite books of all time. That's kind of how my rating system goes. I rate out of 5 stars, 3 being most of the novels, unless they just really stand out, either good or bad. I want to say this one is also a new one to, like, it was newly published, I think. The next book is Run on Red by Noelle, I'm gonna butcher this, Ihli, maybe is how you say that. And all of a sudden, a bunch of this author's books popped up on my library, on my audiobook list. So I don't think they're new books. I think that my library just acquired the audiobooks for them recently. And so I was like, oh, these look fun. They look like horror novels. I mean, just look at this cover. It looks like a movie, right? Like a thriller movie. Somebody's chasing this girl in this car. This looks like it could be a motion picture, you know, cover film, and not a book per se. This is about essentially these 2 girls. I think they're in college, maybe. They're going to this party. It's back in the woods, kind of deserted, and they notice a car following them. And this car is right up on their tail, and so they keep trying to pull over and let the car pass, you know, to get around them on these, you know, old windy country roads. And the car just keeps sticking behind them. And this car ends up, you know, trying to attack these women. And so the story is essentially about them running from this man, and that interaction, them trying to get away. I think there's 2 men in the story. They're pursuing them. Just kind of that cat and mouse chase type of getting away from the killer type of book. Again, very movie-esque to me. I could see this being a movie and, you know, instead of a novel. The ending of it and kind of why these two women were targeted was not my favorite. And come to find out, this is a YA novel. And once I figured that out, kind of as I was getting toward the end of this book, it made a lot more sense. I just don't think I'm a fan of YA. A lot of YA thrillers that I have read recently, I've just been meh about. I'm never overly excited or overly enjoy them. I think there's the right audience for them, and I know a lot of people really like that type of content. But for me, it fell short because I was looking just for more, and I was looking for a different explanation as to why these women per se were the ones being targeted by these men. So for me, I'm not a fan. I still gave it a 3 stars because it still was a fun, kind of action-packed, good, quick read. Very, very quick, great for Halloween, but it didn't wow me in any capacity. And I'm not going to read any more of her novels just because I think they're all very YA in nature. Looks like it's a series too. It looks like that's the first in the series. Next, I read Claire Darling by Callie Kazumi. Again, I could be butchering this. What a crazy book this was. This is about a woman who goes to bring her fiance lunch one day, and when she gets to his office, they say that he doesn't work there anymore. Her fiance's name is Noah, and they say he doesn't work here. What do you mean? And her whole world collapses. Claire tries to get a hold of Noah. She's like frantically calling him, trying to figure out an explanation. What do you mean he doesn't work here? What's going on? And Noah completely ghosts her, never to speak to her again. And so this story is about Claire trying to put the pieces together of what has happened with her fiance. Who was this person? Is he leading like a double life? Why is he not working at this place that he said he's working every day? Why did he just ghost me? This is an incredibly kind of intense emotional read. I would caveat this, if you have any sort of like abandonment issues when it comes to relationships or just people in your life, I would stay away from this book. This is very heavy on that, and at times this was tough to read because you felt for her so strongly that this man who she thought she was going to marry just absolutely ghosted her out of nowhere, and she's confused and she's trying to put the pieces together. And of course, some other things happen along the way, right? It is a thriller novel as she's trying to find her answers, but definitely heavy on the abandonment issues. So just, there's my forewarning. If that is going to be hard for you to read, I would avoid this book. If you can handle those types of situations or emotions, I think this was a really good read. I gave it 3 stars, but it's so hard. I almost wish we had like half stars, quarter stars, because some of these 3-star reads, like this one, I would rank a little bit higher because they just stick with you. Like this one really stuck with me because it was so emotionally kind of jarring about what was going on. So if you like those types of novels, if you think you can handle it, emotionally, it was a really good, fast-paced thriller. Next, I read The Tenant by Freida McFadden. So this is Freida's newest novel, and I swear this woman writes like 4 books a year. I'm sure there's other books coming out soon that I don't even know about. So this is one of the book club picks for Sense and Sentences later on in the summer. So I'm glad that I, have gotten to read it now. I really love Freida McFadden. Whenever she brings out a new novel, normally I jump right to it because I just enjoy her books. This is about a man named Blake. He's kind of the main character in this story, and they're living in New York City, him and his fiance, in a beautiful brownstone. He's got a really high executive job. He's making a ton of money. Well, he gets fired from his job, and he gets accused in that firing of stealing from the company. And he's, saying, what are you talking about? Like, I didn't steal anything, etc., etc. Well, he gets fired, and he has a hard time finding a job after that. And eventually they decide as a couple that they need to rent out the spare room in their brownstone to supplement their income. And so they find this tenant, this roommate named Whitney. Well, Whitney is all, amazing and kind and sweet during the interview process. And then when she moves in, some things start happening. And so basically it's Blake and his fiance and dealing with this kind of roommate from hell type of situation, and them going back and forth with each other. This was really good. I gave this 4 stars. I think this is one of the best Freida books that I have read in quite a while. I was able to figure out the twist pretty early on. I would say probably a third of the way in, I thought, I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but this is happening. And I was right. So I feel good. All of my hundreds and probably thousands of mystery thriller books that I've read have have helped me kind of pick out things, I guess. But I didn't know what the full twist was, but I did guess what the twist was. And it was good. It was a good twist. I really liked this one. If you like those really quick, fast-paced reads, if you like Freida McFadden, I would say this is one of her better ones that she has written in quite a while. And like I said, I gave this one a 4 stars. Next up, I read Tender is the Flesh by Agustina. I'm not even going to try to say this. I think this is a Spanish author, and this book has been translated into English, if I am correct. This book, I don't even know where to start. This is crazy. I've heard a lot about this book for years. I've wanted to read it. I listened to this on audiobook. Audiobook was intense. I almost would recommend not listening to this on audiobook, especially if you have any sort of weak stomach. If you have a really weak stomach, don't read this book at all. If you have a semi-weak stomach, read the book. Don't listen to the audiobook. I listened to this on audiobook. Essentially, this is about a society where there is a disease that makes them have to kill all the animals. So that is all of the, animals that we use for food, right? Every cow, every pig, every chicken, all gone. Dogs, like every animal. There are even birds they're worried about. When they walk outside, they walk with umbrellas because of the birds. So some disease that has happened, that they have to kill all the animals. And so in an effort to feed the population, they start raising humans for food. And they have these human farms, and they are killing and eating the humans. There is a mystery kind of thriller aspect of this book as well. So not only is there that societal aspect, and it really makes you think, it has a mystery thriller kind of twist at the end of the book about something else that's going on alongside it. I don't want to give too many details because I'll give it away, but there's more to the story than just that. What an interesting, horrifying, just awful book. It was fantastic though. I gave it a 4 stars. This is one of those books that really make you think. And it makes you think about the world around you and just like things that could happen. These type of books sometimes scare me that they're on the market. As good as this book was and as well written as it is and as much as I enjoyed it, when I see books like this or when I read books like this, I think I don't want anybody else to read this because I don't want people to get an idea. I don't know. My brain starts going in many directions. This definitely makes you think about society today. So not only is there that aspect of it, but again, there's this kind of mystery thriller aspect of this book. Absolutely, like I said, have to have a strong stomach to read this book. But I really liked it. I really liked it and would recommend it. And then lastly for this video, I just finished Looking Glass Sound by Catriona Ward. So I read one other book from her. It is The Last House on Needless Street. That one's really, really good. And so I saw this one. It's set on the coast of Maine, and I said, yep, I'll take that one. I love anything to do with Maine. I'm actually going to Maine later on in the summer. I'm very looking forward to it, just for a very short trip. But anything that has to do with Maine, I'm all here for. So this is about this boy named Wilder whose family goes and summers in this home in Maine, and there is a crime that's occurred in previous summers and keeps occurring, and it affects the town, it affects Wilder and his friends, and something kind of traumatic and intense happens to them one summer when they're in this home. And then, you go to Wilder's college years, and he's trying to grapple with what just happened, and then there's a situation with a friend at college, and then you go to him as at adulthood, and you kind of see him dealing with these things in adulthood. This is a very twisty, I don't even want to say paranormal. I'm not sure how to even describe it. It is not your typical mystery thriller. A lot of the story is getting intertwined. You have a lot of flashbacks, a lot of different people's point of views. I would say the first half of the book was fantastic, and then the second half of the book I hated because it got overly complicated, and something that started out as kind of a fun summer mystery read turned into this crazy kind of fantasy world almost. I can't say too much more without giving it away, but the direction of the novel halfway through completely changed. If we would have just stuck with what was going on that summer with his friends in this Maine beach house, and there was, you know, this man that was killing people running around, I wish that's where the story would have stayed. But it just makes such a weird turn in not a good direction, in my opinion. It's rated 3.47 stars, so people must like it. When I look at the reviews, it's either I loved this or I hated this. It's very back and forth. A lot of people are saying, similar to me, that they love the first half and then they got to the second half and they're like, what in the world is this? A lot of people are saying brain bend, like it bends your brain, difficult to understand, and I would agree with that entirely. I really liked The Last House on Needless Street, and that one kind of had a similar feel to it, where you don't understand what's going on and then a twist. But in that one, I feel like the beginning is confusing, and then you figure out what's happening, and the whole rest of the book then makes sense. This one, I don't feel that way. Like, I'm left after reading this novel still feeling confused about exactly what happened, and I don't like feeling that way. You guys, I just want a book. Tell me your recommendations about like a beach house in Maine or the Pacific Northwest. I want just like a typical murder mystery, you know? What are those novels? Let me know if you have any recommendations for books like that. So not one that I would recommend unless you like super mind twisting types of novels. Okay, that is it. Those are all of the fiction books that I've read over the last few months. Like I said, I've read a lot of nonfiction as well. I think, how many books have I read this year? I've read 40. So doing good. I'm really happy with that number. And yeah, just enjoying listening to some podcasts and things as well. But I will be back. I don't know if I'll do this again next month, or we'll see how many books I read, but I'll come back and share some more books here in the future as I get another stack of them to chat about. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I really appreciate you being here and taking the time to see what books I've read recently, and I will talk to you in my next one. Bye.